All right. So hello, everyone, and welcome to Atlassian Analytics demo and office hours. We thank you for joining us today for the demo, and we are super excited to show you what we've got for Atlassian Analytics. My name is Inder. I'm one of the product managers on Atlassian Analytics team, along with my colleagues, Kevin and Alana. Kevin will be part of this demo and this session, while Alana is going to run the second session later tonight for Asia Pacific and Australia time zones. Before we get started, just wanted to point this out that throughout this demo, we will also be talking about some of the features that we are currently working and currently building. So the scope of those features and the timelines associated with those features can change as we work through that and get more and more customer feedback. So just wanted everybody to be cognizant of the fact that some of the features that are discussed in this demo might change over time. In terms of agenda, we spent a few minutes going over the Atlassian Analytics as a product, what we have launched in the past few months, then jumping onto a live demo, followed by a roadmap preview, basically talking about the features that are coming up in the short term. Then we'll have some Q&A regarding the roadmap. And towards the second half of this session, we will jump onto office hours, where we have our technical support team who will be jumping more into any specific technical issues that you might have. For that, there will be a separate Zoom link, which will be posted in the chat. So once this presentation is over, please click that Zoom link and join a separate Zoom meeting where our technical support team will be there. So Atlassian's mission is to unleash the potential of every team, and data and insights and data and analytics is an integral part of that. Over the years, we have received numerous feedback around either lack of data or the data just being too difficult to extract or even understand for the Atlassian products that you use every day. So the goal of Atlassian Analytics is to enable data for all. So no matter who you are within your organization, what your role is, and even what your data skills are, we want you to feel comfortable using Atlassian Analytics for gathering insights and enabling decision-making. So the feature sets that we have built and we are continuing to build is with this objective in mind. We want to take away the complexities and the time-consuming task of gathering data, building infrastructure from you so that you can make better use of your time and focus on what matters most. In terms of what does Atlassian Analytics as a product look like and what does it do? At the heart of the product offering and really the central element, foundational element of the product is Atlassian Data Lake. It's a central data storage for all your cloud-based Atlassian products. So what we are doing here is we're connecting to your products such as Jira Software, Confluence, Bitbucket, and getting that data and put it into the data lake. Now, the data is just not copy-pasted the way it's stored in product, because we know the way data is structured on the product side is very difficult to use from a business intelligence perspective. So we are spending a lot of time and a lot of resources in making sure that the data that sits in the data lake is modeled properly for you to be able to search for what you're looking for. The fields are intuitive, so that you don't have to really understand too much around what does this mean, where do I get the cycle times and things like that. So in that sense, the data that sits in the lake is almost like a data warehouse. It's ready to be used for you to start analyzing. Once the data sits in the lake, then the question arises, okay, how do I start building insights out of that? And here really there are two different paths. The first one is the one that's shown at the bottom where it says your BI tool. So you will be able to connect to Atlassian Data Lake with your own BI tools of choice, like Power BI, Tableau. Maybe you've already invested in those tools, or you already have dashboards that are built in those particular tools. So you will be able to continue to use those BI tools. And in addition to BI tools, you will also be able to connect to data lake and just get the data out and put it in your own databases, either on-prem or on cloud. So in that option, essentially the data leaves Atlassian and now resides on your site. The second option is to use Atlassian Analytics. And this is the powerful visualization and dashboarding capability that comes with the product offering. This is the demo that Kevin will be giving shortly. And Atlassian Analytics not only just lets you build dashboards and share it, it also lets you embed these dashboards in, let's say you're writing a Confluence report, you're writing a Jira story. So wherever Atlassian editor exists, you will be able to embed these dashboards in those editors. And also Atlassian Analytics supports third-party databases. So if, let's say you have something like a financial data or a customer feedback data sitting in Snowflake or Databricks, you can connect to that, connect to Data Lake, and create a single visualization. So Atlassian Data Lake and the visualization capability, Atlassian Analytics, comes as a single product. So when we say Atlassian Analytics, it includes both the data lake and the visualization capability. Atlassian Analytics is GA. So we went generally available in April, on April 18th. Previous to that, we were in open beta for a few months, but now Atlassian Analytics is GA. So it was pretty exciting to be in GA for the last few months, and we're getting a lot of feedback from our users. In order to achieve the objective of data for all, we have built features for Atlassian Data Lake that lets you manage the end-to-end process of gathering the data and also building the insights. So starting with, how do I connect to the data lake? How intuitive it is? What does the interface look like? All the way up to, okay, I can connect to the data lake. How can I build dashboards? How can I build charts? And then once that's done, how about consumption? How can I embed these dashboards and charts for my leadership or other teams to view, not only in Atlassian Analytics, but also anywhere where Atlassian editor exists, like Confluence, like I said, Jira Story, JSM, and things like that. So the end-to-end process gives you a tremendous amount of control on what you want to build and how you want to manage your end-to-end dashboarding process. And with that, I will stop the screen share here and I will pass it on to Kevin. Kevin will give us a demo of Atlassian Analytics. Kevin?
Thanks, Inder. Yep, so I'll be happy to walk through several of the areas of the product that Inder was talking about. I'm going to attack this as if you may have not used analytics before, or maybe like you've got access to it, but haven't really had time to set it up yet. So the first thing that you'll do as you onboard is connect to the Atlassian Data Lake. The neat thing about the Atlassian Analytics product is it lets you connect to not only your Atlassian data, but also other database connections, such as Snowflake. We recently added a Databricks connection, but there's other cloud databases that are very common that you can connect to and blend your Atlassian data with. And you would do that through this data tab as an admin and set up those connections so that you can query all of that data via our SQL interfaces. So to set up your Atlassian Data Lake connection, and you can set up to 10 of these connections, and each connection can be scoped differently. So a reason for setting up multiple connections to the data lake would might be that you would want different teams to have access to a different set of data, whether that's product data or different sites. So I'll walk through this, really going through the steps, but I won't go to the sort of like the last process because it takes about a minute to fully set up. So this particular demo site that I'm using has one site. If there were multiple sites in your organization, you would see them here and you could select all of the data, or you can go through and selectively pick which products you want included, or even which projects you wanted. So if there are particular projects that you want to exclude that may be testing or have sensitive data, you can unselect those, and your users won't be able to query that data. Or if you just want to sort of scope the data to particular products, you can do that as well. The neat thing about using analytics instead of in product, like reports and dashboards, is the ability to blend data across all of these products. So if you wanted to combine service management data with Jira software data with Confluence data, you could do that in all-in-one dashboard, and setting up the data through this process is how you would do that. The next few steps really are talking more about what this step here, as far as scope of data, basically means, do you want to include all of the data that's in those sites, or do you want limited data? And limited data really means just using just being able to query the account. Like if you wanted to get a count of issues or a count of user IDs, but not actually know the details behind those issues. This could be useful in some cases, but I think almost everyone uses all data. The limited data option is if there's maybe sensitive data that users input that you don't want to be able to query, but you still want to be able to get like counts of like how many total issues there are, how many total users there are. And then you would give the connection a name, and the last step is setting up permissions on that. I will not do that through this, but actually show you how that is done. As I said, once you can set up multiple connections, like this site had multiple connections that you can go through, can set up, and then once you have set it up, you can set up who has access to query, or what we call manage the connection. Now, manage the connection doesn't mean include more data or change the scope of the data. It pretty much means being able to assign out permissions or change which tables and columns are visible within the connection. But you can't add more data as a manager. So you would go through this and be able to set up who has access. You can also see any changes that have been made. You can see queries that go through the system. We have a query log as well that shows how long queries take, what kind of queries are being issued through the connection. So that's setting up data lake connections. It is a pretty straightforward process. You can also do this, like I said, for third-party data sources such as Snowflake and Databricks, and this will allow you to create dashboards. So I'll go over to the dashboard section and show like some example dashboards. This is our overall dashboard view screen. This can be viewed as like these icons or as a simple list. We have all sorts of filtering capabilities and search capabilities on these dashboards. So if you wanted to help find a particular dashboard, those features can be used for that. Some example dashboards that we have. So there's a team VSM scorecard dashboard, for instance, that I'll walk through really quickly. But the basic structure of the dashboards usually is setting up filters for the dashboard. So these filters allow you to change the date or the date bucket or which project. So all of these filters are really customizable, and you can create new ones to apply to the dashboard based on how you want to set up your data. So the really powerful thing about the Atlassian Analytics product is its flexibility. You can set up as many filters as you want. You can set up any type of filter that you want for the data. And as you set these filters up, you can choose which charts and tables the filters apply to. So this is a really nice dashboard with some overall single value metrics, some nice graphics that show that basically explain the dashboard, what the metrics mean. You can hover these values. You can set up drill downs to, if you want to click into these and update particular tables, you can do that as well, or jump to a different dashboard. So we support lots of different visualization types, including bar charts, bar line, all sorts of charts. These table charts are really nice. They link out to particular issues. Again, you can set up all sorts of mapping and filtering options as well. How do you create one of these dashboards? We do provide basically chart and dashboard templates out of the with the product. So if you go create, you can click use template, and then based on the products that you've included in your data lake connection, you'll get a set of recommended or getting started dashboards for each product. These are really useful for a number of reasons, but they are a really great way to learn how to get started with the product and potentially just take an existing chart and tweak it. Again, all of these charts on the dashboard are editable. You can go in and change them. You can copy them, clone them, set up different size dimensions. So they have all sorts of settings for each chart as well. And you can see how these are built. If you go to edit one of them, it'll take you into our visual editor, and you can see all of the steps that were used to create these charts. And if you want something similar, you could use this as a jumping off point, or you can just sort of learn the structure and start from scratch on your next one. The same thing for individual charts. We do have quite a few templates available for every product that's included in your connection. So you can search these and kind of go through these and set these up and add them to your existing dashboards to, again, help get started with the product quickly. One thing before I jump into the next part, I did want to touch on dashboard settings a little bit. These settings we've been revamping the settings quite a bit over the last few months and making this a little bit easier to use. But in general, you can control all sorts of settings for every dashboard, including access settings, subscription settings, view activity, and again, setting up the different controls and filters that you have for every dashboard. The final piece I wanted to show was really quickly showing how to create a chart from scratch with just showing our visual interface. So I'll go into this is our visual SQL interface, and the data lake is uses SQL, which is really nice, especially if you have experience previously with other business intelligence tools. It's standard SQL, and so you should be able to go into our SQL. We have two versions of this editor, a visual interface and a SQL interface. The SQL interface, you can just type out SQL, but personally, I like our visual SQL interface where you basically point and click to which columns you want. And so you can browse the schema here, and we do have documentation on the full schema, but it's really nice to be able to just search for columns or find columns through this browse browsable interface. And so you get like a little bit of a preview as you hover different tables and columns. So what I'll do is just show, like if you wanted just a count of issues, you could just basically pick issue ID and run query. And what this does behind the scenes is it generates SQL for you. So if you go to the SQL interface, you will actually see really nice, clean SQL that you could edit, or you could just continue to use the visual SQL interface to, refine the query. So we have 11,000 issues in this example. But if you wanted to know how many issues per project, you would go to the project table and just click name. And it's that easy. And then this will do all of the grouping and counting for you. And so you could then see a breakdown of all the issues per project. And let's say you wanted to see that in a pie chart, you would just click the pie chart. If you wanted to see it in a bar chart, you just click bar chart. And it's that simple and easy. And let's say there's just like too many projects here. You can use, we have a lot of tools available, and once you run a query to edit the resulting table. And so what I'll do is I'll just click more. And let's say I only wanted the top 5 projects. So you could say limit rows to 5, save. And now you only have 5 rows. And so what you could do then is go to settings, and every chart type has a lot of settings. So if you wanted to change this to a horizontal, if you wanted to add value labels, you could do that. And as you update it, you can see the chart is updated pretty quickly. And then you'd simply just save this to a new or existing dashboard. And that is pretty much how you use like our visual interface. There's a lot more that we could dive into in office hours with the technical support team, but you can set up filtering, you can tie these to existing controls on your dashboard. And yeah, I highly recommend just jumping in here and starting to play around and look at some of the example templates to get a feel for how to use this interface. So I'll stop there and hand it back to Inder. And we'll be taking, again, questions in office hours. And yeah, Inder, back to you.
Thanks, Kevin. All right. So we just saw the demo from Kevin regarding the recent releases that we have had over the past few months. So we have added features to the data enablement. So we've been bringing new data entities. Jira product discovery, it's a product that we recently launched, is also now available, and also more organization table from JSM. We also have support for Databricks. So if you have data sitting in Databricks, now you can connect to it using Atlassian Analytics. We've also made the product selection that Kevin spoke about when you're establishing a data connection much easier with a select all option. In terms of dashboard experiences, more dashboard templates were launched, including 3 just dedicated for value stream management, which let you go down from team level, go up from team level to teams of teams, and all the way up to the department level. So 3 value stream management dashboards. We also redesigned the side panel for you to have a better access to the settings that are available, including better control over filters that you have on the dashboards, as well as subscriptions. In terms of chart creation, we rolled out the forecasting feature that lets you do forecasting using linear, cubic, or quadratic extrapolation. This is available in the Visual SQL interface, and also bucket data step. So that lets you bucket your entire data into small chunks of buckets. So if you haven't checked out those 2 features, highly recommend you to go into the Visual SQL mode, and you will see the icons for forecast and bucket data step. We have an active Atlassian Analytics community page. Highly recommend again for you to go and check out that page. Post your questions, also browse questions that somebody might have posted in the past. We also regularly update this and post any new features that we have been launching or any outstanding issues that might be. So if you haven't already visited Atlassian Analytics community page, please do that and subscribe to it.